everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this Sunshine meeting in regards of the DDA. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have this meeting because the DDA didn't show up. But I would like to hear from you the concerns that you have. And let me get you how we got to this point. I took office over 3 months ago. And now, I took office over 3 months ago. Around a month ago, I requested a meeting with the DDA. When I requested the meeting, a day before the meeting, I asked why was the District 4 team included in that meeting when the meeting was supposed to discuss the DDA. The meeting was canceled, and that's why we requested a Sunshine meeting. The DDA decided today not to show up, so we're going to be having a discussion item on the next commission meeting that we have to ask all the questions that I have right here for the DDA. With that being said, I would like to hear from residents. What are your concerns about the DDA? How do you see the DDA? You can make a line, 5 at a time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Laura Okamura, and I live at 50 Biscayne Boulevard downtown. The DDA has been operating for over 60 years, and their original purpose was to eliminate urban blight, but I do not think they have succeeded. And I think part of the reason they have not succeeded is the way they are spending the taxpayer money. So downtown residents are funding about 58% of their budget, but we are not receiving 58% of the budget resources. As an example, I object to having my taxpayer money spent on new office space in the Citibank Miami Center instead of being located on Flagler Street, and over $725,000 in gifts to billion-dollar sports entities such as Barcelona Football Club. The large executive salaries totaling over $3.5 million, which is almost 20% of the budget, and marketing for luxury events does not eliminate blight. The city should be providing the services residents need in downtown in the first place, without residents having to pay an additional tax to the DDA to deliver basic city services, such as sanitation and police services. It's a very economically inefficient system to deliver basic services to downtown residents. The DDA needs some adjustments to its goals and to better serve whomever is funding them. I think it would make more sense for the DDA to operate as a bid that's funded by the businesses and not the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the community for coming out and supporting this very important issue that we've been discussing for a very long time. I also want to thank Commissioner Escalano for his courage in holding this Sunshine meeting and asking the questions residents have been asking for years. My name is James Torres, president of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance. For years, we've been asking basic questions about the DDA. For years, we've been ignored, brushed aside, and at times retaliated against by the very agency that we are funding this double taxation. Because let's be clear, if the DDA, it's about leadership, they're not here today, that's for a reason. It's called deliberate snubbing. It's a message that they don't feel accountable, not to this commission and certainly not to the residents paying their bills through the additional taxation. And if this is how they treat elected officials, imagine how they treat the residents that are paying into this. I don't deal in platitudes. I don't deal in spin. I deal with facts. The Downtown Development Authority has been double taxing downtown and Brickell families since 1967. Let that sink in. Not only we've been paying the additional tax, we are already among the highest taxed in the entire city of Miami. We already pay more, and then we're taxed again, twice. And what we are getting for it in return, let me just share with you some of the things that have occurred in the last 18 months. Over $3.2 million have been handed out to corporate giveaways. It's called welfare checks. While the people paying this hostage tax are left asking basic questions about safety, services, and quality of life, this agency is operating out of a luxury high-rise paying over $700,000 a year, with a payroll roughly of $3.5 million, while almost half of his staff are making $100,000 a year. And to add insult to injury, they're also handing out taxpayer money to billion-dollar corporations. For example, $450,000 to FC Barcelona Football Club, $175,000 tied to the national college football events that just occurred, another $100,000 to UFC. I can go on, but we would be here all day. The CEO of this tax-paying funding agency earns nearly $265,000, more than the governor of Florida, more than the governor of California, two of the largest and most complex states in the union. And yet, when someone asks simple questions, where the money is going, there's no real answer, or deflection in this case, and now retaliation. Just yesterday, the DDA retaliated against our very own organization. All we did was ask a simple thing: to support the community on an Easter event for the families of downtown. That was it. We were responded because we asked the question, because we were asked to speak out. We're refused, we fall in line, and all they do is just turn around and shut us down. It is our community dollars that are funding this agency. They should support the community and not give out corporate welfare checks. A taxpayer-funded agency funded by double taxation pushes the very people that are paying for it. That's not misunderstanding. That's not one-off. That's a pattern here. You don't punish residents for asking questions. You don't shut them out for disagreeing. And certainly, you don't weaponize a public agency against the public. It's called retaliation. Very simple. Let that sink in, Madam Attorney. The DDA board is made up of lobbyists and business interests. Let's stop pretending otherwise. This system that rewards insiders, avoids scrutiny, and punishes anyone who dares to speak up. Residents have had enough of this financial abuse. Paying a hostage tax is no other than Miami residents, and no one in the commission has to pay. End the hostage tax and create a business improvement district that you have spoken about in the past, in which we supported that indirectly because we're not in the same district. But it does make sense that the burden should be placed on business owners and not on the residents for this abuse that continues. We ask for your support, and we do apologize that they failed to show up here today to have these answers questioned. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jose Bermudez, 801 South Miami Avenue. I am a business leader, I am a lobbyist, but I'm also a resident, and I think stating that someone that lives in downtown Miami is not involved in business and has interests, it's not the right way to start conversations. I would like to thank you guys for your confidence in me in adding me to the DDA board. It is something that I am incredibly proud of because I see it as a continuation of public service. I see it as a way to contribute to my community. I have spent many years advocating not only for different organizations, not-for-profits. I represented the city of Miami in Tallahassee and in Washington, D.C. I do see the frustrations in a lot of people, but I would like to also commend the addition of the 3 new board seats to the DDA. And those board seats are specifically to get the perspective of residents and to have that line of communication between all the 3 different areas that were added, from the at-large position to the A&E district to the Brickell. I live in Brickell. I walk the streets. This morning, I went from my residence in Brickell to go to my gym, which is in downtown Miami. I walk these streets. I look at all the issues between sidewalks, construction, sanitation issues, and I'm here to say that I would love to have an opportunity for any residents that have any issues to please see me after the meeting or during the meeting, get my cell phone number. We're here as a community, and we should be working together as a community to make these improvements. I see the DDA as a vehicle in order to improve significant issues that are happening in our area, whether it's downtown, Brickell, the A&E district, but I am incredibly encouraged by the confidence that you guys have had in my appointment, and I want to say I'm here to hopefully help bridge that dialogue and improve situations for the residents and businesses alike, as well as our tourism, because this week is an incredibly exciting week in Miami. We have from international conferences happening in Miami Beach that we'll use the Miami restaurants, we'll use the Miami hotels, to Miami Music Week, to so many positive things that we could be celebrating. But I do realize that we could be better. We always could be better. And this city is at a great place in history. And I would really like to commend you guys for having this Sunshine meeting, for really wanting to engage and get the different perspectives. But I would like to commit to you guys that I'm here to help. I'm here to hopefully help communicate with the residents alike, and I'm here to serve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gary Ressler, 169 East Flagler Street. Let me first say I understand and recognize and feel your frustration with the fact that DDA staff isn't here. As the longest serving board member on the DDA currently, you do, however, have 3 board members in attendance, which I think says a lot. We have worked very hard at the DDA to improve this city. We work very closely with residents and the resident community. And I think it's important that we recognize that there is a lot of misinformation out there as well. This 58% number funded by residents is a fallacy. I've personally gone through the 2025 rolls myself. Commercial properties, as I've calculated it, and I've gone through it with several people, do pay the majority, but that's unimportant. The fact remains the DDA's mission as an economic development agency for the city of Miami began with its planning of the neighborhood under the DRI. That DRI essentially defined the downtown districts and their development capacity. And it's through that plan that we have been very effective, in fact, in eliminating much blight throughout the community. There are pockets that still exist. We are very, very focused on those, and we understand that. And towards that end, we are initiating a 2050 master plan to address the donut hole in the downtown district. I am here to meet with you, or you, Mr. Commissioner, or anybody about any of the DDA happenings. We are extremely transparent. We have sat with all of the residents. We will provide whatever information you require, and I will personally see to it, if you have any questions, that they be addressed.
I wanted to have a meeting today, and the DDA is not here. So that doesn't show transparency, sir.
I understand, and frankly, I am also looking into why they're not here. As a board member, I find it extremely frustrating and disrespectful, and I do not stand for it either. So I recognize that. I also recognize the politicization of the DDA at this moment, whether it's between commission offices or residents. For some reason, the DDA has become a political football. It is not productive, and it doesn't help the DDA accomplish its goals. So if there's any way, as Jose said, if there's any way that we can help bridge that gap, that's what we are here to do. That's what we have been elected for onto this board and appointed by the commission, and you have our commitment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Vicki Lopez, and I'm the County Commissioner for District 5, which covers both Brickell and parts of downtown. As an elected official, as you are all, unfortunately, I'm the one who hears of all the complaints of my own constituents, many of which we share. Obviously, Commissioner Escalona, you and I share a great deal of the same constituents, and it's been very frustrating for me. I serve as the vice chairman of the DDA, having been appointed by the county commission to serve in that capacity and having been obviously approved by the city commission. And I think my role is a little bit different. The county doesn't have any jurisdiction over the DDA, but what I do have is a responsibility to my constituents to answer questions that they may have. There's been an extraordinary amount of frustration on the part of the Brickell constituents. And I have actually spoken about this at the DDA meetings. Many of my Brickell constituents are curious as to what services they are receiving currently for the taxes that they pay. There's also been a lot of discussion around whether or not the DDA is actually subsidizing the city of Miami's responsibility to provide both police and solid waste services that are now being subsidized by the DDA. So I would tell you that I think my constituents, which we share, Commissioner Escalona, are concerned about, first, what is the responsibility of the city of Miami to provide the same level of services to our constituents that are provided throughout the city of Miami? So that's one that I think they would very much like to hear an answer to. Secondly, I think they want to understand how is it that they are continuing to be part of this, of the taxing district. I think what's interesting is if you look at the other 6 DDAs across the state, they all have a sunset date, which means they were created, they went and did what they needed to do. Once they did, those services and taxes were resolved so that they were no longer. I think the problem is that if you, and I've said this before, Brickell is not blighted, and I know the DDA takes a lot of credit for having, been a part of the rise of Brickell into the thriving community that it is today. However, I think what they're thinking is, so what am I getting back now? And as we heard from one of my constituents that lives in the downtown area, they're trying to figure out what they're getting. So I think there is a lot of confusion as to, one, what should the city be doing for the residents? Secondly, what is the DDA supposed to be doing? And at what point does the DDA then somehow sunset after all their work is done, right? So I want to commend both of you for being here today. It's an important topic to discuss. I too want to offer, as did my colleagues on the board, my role to be able to answer questions that you may have, to get you information. I too am frustrated that the DDA did not bring someone. I understand the executive director might be on vacation. It is spring break, so I don't fault her if she's not even in town. But to have sent someone here to answer your questions would have been appropriate. It is disrespectful. All of you are elected officials, and I know what it's like to feel disrespected when people just ignore, in particular, a public sunshine meeting. But I would ask you, Commissioner Escalona, if you could provide my office with the questions that you have before you, so that we can begin to look at them as well and try to figure out. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Commissioner Gabella, for coming as well. It's so important to see you here. Thank you.
Vicki, by the way, let me just clarify. I want you guys to know something at the county. Speaking of, disrespect, I have had the Alapata CRA, which we approved 2 years ago, and we gave it to the county. 2 times, you guys have missed the deadline of 120 days. We're now in a situation, that we didn't want to be in. But I just want, since you're a new commissioner and you do overlap with my area,
I do,
right? And we
yes,
met, in certain buildings that you carry, as do I. I just want you to be aware, as a commissioner, that all these things that make an area better, that because part of my area is in blight.
It is.
And for 2 years, we did diligent work here to pass the Alapata CRA. Okay, we got it done 2 years ago, and we've been, all we needed was the county to go forward. And there's a rule that they might not have known about, but the thing is that we've been disrespected here. I feel by your colleagues at the county, because somebody's got a responsible there. Just now is when they responded. After we had to send a letter with her. More than a year ago or 9 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd like to know what's up with that. Talking about disrespect, what's up with the county?
Madam
Commissioner.
Commissioner.
What I mean? What's the problem that they don't want to? Is the problem that they don't want us? You guys don't want us to succeed? you know, in the Alapata neighborhood, you know, because this is very important. It takes care of blight. It takes care of the 7th
Yes.
Avenue corridor. And for some reason, somebody doesn't want to do it, or it's incompetency. One of the two.
I will look into
I'd like
it.
to know the answer. If you would please help me look into this,
I will.
because it's also your area.
Madam Commissioner, don't respond, just
Thank you
because
very much.
this was only noticed for the DDA, so we need to stay only focused on the DDA.
No, I said what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Vicky.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ernesto Cuesta. I do represent Brico Homes Association. And first of all, I want to thank both of the commissioners present here. You are a new commissioner, Mr. Escalona, but I want to say something that this gentleman, every time there has been a sunshine meeting, he has been there. I appreciate that. I don't know if you recall, maybe 2 years ago, when we had the sunshine meeting about the budget, every single, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Gavela, every single commissioner at that point in time show up to the meeting, right or wrong? What happened today? This is very disrespectful to the taxpayers and to the city of Miami. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that is watching this, the city of Miami needs another overhaul politically in this city. We need people that are committed to represent us sitting in that dais. And that is not happening. This is a lack of respect that today was a sunshine meeting. Even the DDA chairman is not in here. I will not attack him personally, but I'm going to tell him exactly what I feel in his face personally. This is very disrespectful. Last thing I want to change, and you know how I feel, Commissioner Gavela. Downtown is not Brico, and Brico is not downtown. I believe that I stated that to you, Commissioner Escalona. They are two different neighborhoods. I think it's disrespectful to the section that is being taxed by the DDA because they are not delivering the services that they're supposed to be delivering in that section. Brickell is not downtown, and downtown is not Brickell. Even go farther than that. We don't have no representation in that board. We were promised. We had 2 meetings with the chairman of the DDA. 2 meetings. One that with the executive committee of the BHA, and one privately with me. And we were promised changes. And we were promised that we were going to have a representation in that board. And we were sent by the chairman of the DDA the application to have a good representative of the Brickell area. And that person was not picked up. And that's the type of promises that were delivered to us. And you know what? Bottom line is that, you know, actions and no actions in this city, eventually they're going to be elections. And elections have consequences. And it's not a threat, it's a reality. And if we in the Brickell area have to get involved in any other particular election within any other district, we're going to do it. Since our voice is not being heard. Once again, Commissioner Escalona, thank you for your support. And Commissioner Gavela, thank you because you have proven that you really care about the citizens of the city of Miami. Thank you so much.
Do we have anybody else here for public comments? You spoke already. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I do apologize. My apologies that we couldn't have this meeting today. It's not up to me, unfortunately. The questions are going to be, if I can I have these questions in my office and give it to the residents?
I'm sorry?
Can I have these questions that I had for the DDA in my office? If the residents want to have the questions.
Most certainly.
Sure.
Public
The
document.
questions are going to be in my office if you all want to go and get them. And thank you. And again, very sorry for coming. Very sorry that you have to come and we didn't have a meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A discussion item titled DDA. Thank you.